There you go. Cool. Just sends an email. Even better. Hopefully it's not static. Hopefully it's not. Oh, it is. Back and forth. Hang on a minute. If you're on here, I actually can't tell how many people are on there. If you're on there, please write a message. In the comments section there, be really good. I'm going to stay on for a while, so hopefully I can give you a bit of an idea. There's 5 people there, so that's good. At least I'll be able to see. I have to have my phone next door. So for a few that you are there, I just hang on 5 seconds. I'll just show you what I'll be going through. So this is the system that I use, and so I've got about 20 minutes, but I don't think I'll get through all that. I'll get through certain plays. But what I would love you to do, if you ask any questions, I can answer it. What I'm going to cover today or tonight is a variety of different plays. So we've got stop plays, we've got centre bounce, we've got going inside forward 50, whole range of different things, transitional running, ball movement, whole host of different things. And I just want to give you a bit of a snapshot of what I look for, give you a bit of a breakdown how I see it, and then you can certainly, and then I can ask you questions as well if there's anyone there that wants to ask any questions, but I can just give you a bit of an idea. Got my cup of tea here. So I'll be able to give you a bit of an insight, and how I break down and how I look at it and how I commentate and assess games, what I look for. You know, and it gives you a bit of an insight too into what coaches look for. The stuff that I do on a weekly basis is exactly what we go through as players, so the coaching stuff. And you might see snippets of it on Fox Footy. I was just watching a bit there with John Longmire and Adam Simpson about how sometimes they critique sort of stuff. But that's really the tip of the iceberg. Is the stuff that I'm doing is basically what I went through for 14 years, going through, you know, assessments each week, you know, breaking down, drawing lines, figuring out where we're going, you know, all that sort of stuff. So hopefully I can give you a bit of an insight into that. I really want you to ask questions, but if you're just going to sit there and watch and assess, hopefully I can give you an idea, bit of a breakdown on how it all actually works. So let me just, I see there's a few people there, so that's great. Hang on 5 seconds, my dog's buddy wants to go outside. Hang on a minute. That's funny. I was speaking to my boys today about live streams. This is the first one I've done, so I've had a few people reach out and say, we would love you to do a live stream and show us how you actually go through it. And it's quite funny. So I asked my boys about YouTube, about people doing live streams, and they said they just sit on there for hours and they go back and forth. So I'm literally 3 minutes into the live stream and my dog wants to go outside. So quite entertaining. But so ask any questions in the chat feature there. But I'll love my Bulls. But if you just joined in, basically what I want to do is I want to just give you a bit of an idea of how I look for certain things in games. So I really want to sort of go through that with you, commentate. So how it will look, it'll be like this. So I'm going to go through all elements of the game, and I've got a whole heaps of different plays, and this is from the first half of the year. and just go through it. So let's just get into it now, because I know that you're probably eager to have a look. So I'll get over to that. So this is early in the year. I think I've got some stats in this. If we get a bit further on, I'll have to check when those games were. But this is round 2. Sydney end up winning this by 3 points. This is over in Perth. But this is the first. Like, you can see the clock there. Hopefully you can see this on the live stream. It's the start of the game. And I don't know what Freo was thinking. When you have a close game and it's only 3 points of difference, but you're leaving 1, 2, and especially this guy, Heaney, free. It's and you've got even players here. I know they're coming back. You've got one player here, probably looks like Rampy, coming through. But they were just so disorganised at the start. I know it's the start of the year and so on and so forth, but you can see how close the top 8 is at the moment, even the side that's 9th at the moment, which is the Suns, how close it all is, and it really makes a big difference. Anyway, so Heaney was off the back of the stoppage, it's like 3 or 4 times throughout this game, and no one manned him up. So I'll give you a bit of a warning too. With my system, I've got 22 minutes here, so sometimes it could be a bit jolty. So I just give you the pre-warning on that. But it's a great tap from Grundy, but it doesn't. If someone mans him up, it doesn't happen. If someone's there to body check him. We've got one-on-one here, one-on-one there, one-on-one there. And I know that they're facing Freo's goals, but it was just really disorganised. There he goes. And there it is there. Wins the clearance. Bang. So once again, look at him there. Free. So, comes in. Let's see, it's going to be a bit. And guess who wins it? Gets it out. Heaney again. So, I guess what I'm trying to teach you here is that, okay, how are they letting him free? What you've got to do is you actually got to have, there's representation here. Make it a 2. If this happens, if they sit a +1, local league or whatever it is, just bring a forward up just to make it a 2-on-1. Just try and, or 1-on-2. Just try and make sure you've got some representation there. But he's won that one, and he wins it again. And when you lose by 3 points, I mean, it's still in the first quarter. It's critical. Like it really, the valuable 4 points, and especially when you're away too. And look how Sydney's gone with all the injuries that they started in the performance. So that's gonna. So I understand that what Freo's trying to do, and most clubs do this. It's a bit of a horseshoe like this. So this is inside Freo's forward 50, but look at that man there, free, absolutely by himself, no one near him. So I understand that you might have some running patterns here and stuff like that, but I reckon this situation you just got to pull someone here. And what it does when you bring this Freo player comes over here, and you create a 1-on-2. You're actually creating space for the forward. If it's a quick kick, you're actually creating space for the forward to run into. So, and then that wins it out of there. This is just a bit of movement off the back, which is really. Sorry, I'm going to be quick here. I'm just trying to figure out. So this is a bit of movement off the back in this area here, which is really good. But look at that space. One of the things you got to look for when you go to stop play, especially backward to centre. So this is backward to centre for Sydney. So Freo's obviously going right of screen. Always got to look at the corridor. Give up the boundary. If that's your last resort, the last resort should be the boundary, because, I know that the Rucks are facing that way. But just be mindful of. Let me check if there's any comments. Sorry, just sort of dart back and forth. If you got any comments, just feel free. And then they leave this guy. So they then pick up pick up Heaney, but then they leave Warner free. And he ends up winning it. So you can see how clunky it is. Warner ends up winning it out of that stop play. So that was early in the year for Sydney, and something that Freo is definitely tidied up. But it was really evident in that first game where they were able to, they just weren't able to be. The structure wasn't there. So there might be some plays too where I'll have to go and have a look and see how they've set up. This is. You might have come across this before as a defensive triangle. So Essendon's going right of screen. So what Port have done, they've gone in defensive triangle. So defensive triangle is just sort of set up. So they're trying to make sure that they cover Essendon going forward. In a way, I reckon in this situation, what Essendon should be doing, well, Port, for instance, Port are set up. They're set up in defensive triangle, so they're trying to hopefully push Essendon that way. So it bumbles around. It's going towards their goals. But I reckon in this situation that they should have used, especially this space, just to hit it back different. Just provide different options towards Port. But I love the intensity here from Durham. Really good going at it, and then the handball received. And this is something that they've gone away from Essendon. They're giving it away. They're giving it back, which is really good. I think this example is about balance. I think this is Shield. If it just slowly catches up, it can be a bit annoying. I apologise for that. See, it has a delay. Come on. Yeah, so this is. I mentioned this a few times and people have asked about balance. So balance is going, when the ball's in dispute, goes to the next phase here. So then they give the handball away. But Dylan Shield has a decision to make here. Right? So does he go at the ball carrier? If his teammate's there, yes, he has to get the ball carrier. But because his teammate's there, he makes the decision to go laterally to try and get the receiver. It's really good play here. So this is what's called balance. So a lot of people have always asked me, what is balance? What is balance? This is exactly balance. It's a balance about giving trust in your teammate to go at the ball carrier, but then he's got trust in you to go at the receiver. And this is what happens in this situation. So, sorry, as I said, I crop and prop with my video. So if I just run it, you can see that when the ball's in dispute here, Dylan Shield has a decision to make, and then he comes off and lays a tackle. Bang. So if he goes at, I think that's row Z. If he goes at row Z, then Burgoyne's got an easy handball receive and out they go. But because he hesitated and waited and had patience not to get sucked in the contest, and there's the balance. So I really like that play. So that's describing the balance for you. I'll just fast forward a bit. Yeah, so feel free to ask any questions. Any chat that you. So this is the Sun. I really like the way the Suns they dismantled the D's in, I think it was, what round was that? Round 3 at the G. And it was, a lot of it was off the line, so that's why the Suns have got Rioli and Noble, is because of their pace off the line, which is very handy. So when there's so this is a setup, and then you'll watch Rioli come off the line, breaks the line, which is really powerful. So they love doing this. It's gone back a bit. So it comes through in dispute, and it sort of bobbles out, and there he is. Bang. Great block by Noah Anderson, but then he's out. Away he goes. And this is what they love to do. They love to have. So that's really on the onus on the forwards. Any team they play, you've got to be. If you're standing next to Noble or Rioli, you've got to watch them, particularly centre bouncers. Them dashing forward. They did this several times in this game. And then I love this from Rao. So Rao's here. This is a really good hit. So you can see there's a running pattern here. Nick Dacos does this really, really well. So you can see that they've set up here that the Suns player is trying to push Demons player this way. Noah Anderson here is pushing this Demons player this way to create this space. The only thing I would suggest is that, I think this is Graham, he should be here pushing Langford that way, because that's the running pattern. They get away with it anyway. But I love this tap. Just bang. If we're going to try and slow it up a bit more. And then he runs through and away he goes. And off to the races. So a really good set play. Love how they set that up. And then they also used him as a blocker as well. So sides tend to try and do this. They use, as I've said in previous videos before, you got to have the two pillars. So Suns going left the screen. You've got to have the blocker, the sweeper, and the receiver can zigzag through. So sweeper's role is to go laterally like this, so be a handball receive or try and shark the oppo's taps. The blocker can be used as that, to block them that way if you want to use this as the hitting pattern, or to come at the ball to be a receiver and then hand pass off or kick it out of there. And then the receiver can sort of dart and weave and freedom sort of roam around. But they use Rao in this situation as the blocker, and he's so good at this. And just tap it forward and away they go, and out they went. They destroyed the Demons that game. This is one I love from De Koning, and I hope he does this tomorrow night. I really do. He's such a quality player, such a quality ruck. But I love when he jumps into the ruck. I was an athletic jumper. So when they go against each other like that, it's like a stop play around the ground. I prefer them to jump. I prefer them to go, have a crack. Hey Boston, the prisoner of war. What a name. Just subscribe. Thanks for subscribing, mate. Appreciate it. I love it when he jumps, because he can provide. He's going into the ruck, not only going to the ruck, but it's in the elevation. But I love this hit. This is a great hit to Chera. I think it's this. If not, I'll go back. But I love it when he jumps. Just gets up, gets his body. And that's into Darcy too, mind you. And he just goes up, jumps hard through him, and then bang, the tap. What I love about this is he's not trying, and this is obviously for rucks, not trying to jump over him. He's trying to jump through him. Get your knee up, get through him. And the beauty about this is that you put them off their center of gravity, but look what the ball is too. So you push them that way and you can see he almost hits it when he's standing on the ground. So if I go through it again, whack. And then he's coming down before he hits it. So he's pushed him off that center of gravity. He's gone through him. And that's what I want him to do. I love him when he jumps. When he's jumping, he's got to work on, when they come across the line, he's got to work on his feet to get, and then he can jump over him, because it's a lot harder to see. He just sometimes gets in that position where he sort of goes to that wrestle. I'd like him to sort of move. But I love this tap. This is early in the year, and it really broke it up. Where's that? This game. Dogs only won by 8 points. So it was a good game. But I love that tap. Hopefully he can do that tomorrow. This is another great tap. So didn't even realise, but it's against Darcy as well. So this is the Collingwood game. So what I love, Collingwood throw a lot of different varieties in their centre bounce, which is what I really love. No worries, Boston. This is... I've got to have a cup of tea. This is Collingwood. I love watching Collingwood in their centre bounces. You saw McQuarrie a couple of times last week out of the centre bounce, how effective he was. but that could be Nick Dacos, that could be Crisp, that could be Pendlebury, that could be Sidebottom. It could be Ned Long. They use a variety. I love this hit. So what Macquarie's trying to do is he's in the blocker position. So Collingwood's going left of screen. He's trying to push his opponent under the ball or into the contest to allow him to have this space. And you can see probably, well, there's Ned Long. I think that's Dacos. They're not moving, so it's definitely a set play. So if he's going, or if he's checking his opponent when the ball's in the air, then you know he's going. Ned Long is just definitely a one-on-one catch. But when you see Nick Dacos hold back and don't make that contact when the ball's in the air, you know that he's sacrificing his running patterns because he's obviously very dangerous, and he can run decoy runs as well. So that's what I pick up on here. So, and that's what the hit comes from. So, bang, just hits it forward. So see, Nick Dacos is not going anywhere, just standing there. This is a good set play. So they throw a lot of varieties, Collingwood, and I got a few other clips later on against Brisbane. They were so effective early in the year. But I love that set play. So that's the Bulldog sweeper, but you just push him into the contest. As I said before, the sweeper goes laterally. But if you can get your blocker to push him in, look at the space that you create. And that's a great hit. So where am I? Sorry, just sort of, and then Darcy just goes whack. And look at that. Open side, front side. So I really love that set play. And this is how important the sweeper can be. So Nick Dacos is in the sweeper position right now. So not allowing Bulldogs going left of screen, not allowing Bulldogs to get front on the front side. So this is opposite to what the previous snapshot was. But I love how he holds his position. So sorry, I might love how he just holds. He's just holding, even though he's on Ed Richards. But he's just holding here, and then he's balanced, and away he goes. Great hand pass out. So I wanted to show this because this is early in the years down in Tassie. Two big brutes, Meek and Briggs, and what Briggs loves to do, and a lot of other clubs are onto it, they have been for a while. He always loves to come to the line, but he always, wherever he faces, is his hit zone. So that's why you see no one standing behind him or behind the rucks. So that's why they have this set up. And that's why Hawthorn was onto it. So they're trying to squash his hit zone here. Look at that. Because both rucks are facing this way. This is more of a sort of a little bit of an outlet sort of thing, but you can see why. So when Briggs is back in to the Giants lineup, this is just one indicator. Look how close they are, right near the umpire. But it's because both rucks are facing this way. That's why I love that Meek has, on occasions, when he gets in this situation, he actually hits it over the top. And that's where Dylan Moore runs on it. I've seen that play a few times, which is what I really love as well. Just a variety, change it up, different hit zones. Really powerful. Hopefully getting a little bit out of this. I've just put this in because it's deep inside Collingwood's forward 50, and I just love the running patterns that they create here. So I knew it was going to slow up. I think this one's the Cripper one. Hang on, so I'm just sort of tangling with all this sort of stuff. Yeah, that's quick hands, but it's the one in forward 50. Where is it? This one, yeah. So what happens is Schultz goes whack, Dacos goes whack. It's inside forward 50. So nothing they don't get anything from this. In fact, side bottom's the one that actually gets it and kicks it back and forth inside the hot spot. But the beauty about this is movement. I reckon the forward line, you've always got to have movement because you can dictate terms. You can see the Carlton players are on high alert, one-on-one. They're all on high alert here, right? So they're dictated terms a little bit. I like and this is what I was saying in the first clip with Freo and Sydney. McStay comes up, just makes it a 2-on-1, which is really good. You always got to have presence, so there's not an easy outlet. But I love, if I can just go with this, I love the move. So there's Schultz is gone, and you can see Dacos left the screen is going. They just create urgency, but they also create space. And I just love how so then side bottom gets it and kicks it back in. But what I love about that sort of play inside forward 50 is they've just got movement everywhere. So you might not get it, but at least you're creating space from behind you, but then you're dictating terms a little bit. Let me have a look at this one. Yeah, so this is when they use Dacos as he's in the block. So Collingwood's going left of screen. They use him as the blocker position, but he comes really hard at the play. This is where Pendlebury comes into play as well. Don't know if he gets it here, but he sats back. So he's a sweeper, but he's on the goal side of the sweeper. Really important. So is still side bottom. Goal side. Doesn't allow him to go at the front side. So Nick comes through. If I can get my cursor going, and bang. There. Whack. And then you see, because Steele's side bottom started on the goal side of his opponent, he could possibly be used as a receiver, but then Darcy flanks out here, Darcy Cameron to be the receiver. So I love when they use Nick like that. What I've also liked, Collingwood, we're talking about Collingwood, I'll just run a pattern that they've done before. They've used Nick Dacos as a decoy. So sometimes, say Collingwood's going right of screen, they've set up Pendlebury here, Dacos here, and Ned Long or whatever is the blocker, whoever is there. So it's a one-on-one. This is the receiver. So what they've done on many occasions, is he's sort of been a bit closer here, but he's taken off here as a decoy. And what essentially has happened is Carlton players or opposition has gone to come across, and then his opponent's gone directly with him, and Pendlebury's used. And they've done that a few times. They did against Brisbane earlier this year. A really good play. So sometimes Nick comes back to come in as a sweeper position, and it allows side bottom Pendlebury to then go. So it's some of the set plays that they do. All right. This is the St Kilda game. The thing I like about the St Kilda game early in the year against Port is their use of the hands, in close and in tight. They've sort of gone away from that a little bit. Sorry, that's my dog barking. He's going to interrupt the live stream. They've gone away from that a little bit. They were really good in and under this game, the Saints. I think they end up winning this game. Where is this game? Port versus Saints. Yeah, they won by 17 points. They're really good in and under. They're really good with their clean hands. You can see here they come back to Jones. But the key with this is Hill gets the ball here, and there's opponent coming straight at him. This results in a goal. But what I love about this, and you've probably heard this before, is you take the grass. Go at the defender, get him to make a decision. If he was to give this off early or kick it, that plays in the hands of Port Adelaide. So you've got to go at the defender to get him. And what I mean by that is go at him. Don't sort of veer off this way, because it then creates, he comes off, then you've got a chaser from behind. But by going straight at the defender, you put him on the back foot a little bit. And this is what I love what Hill does. Just goes at him, so hopefully... So gets the ball, hang on, go back, gets the ball, and then just decides, he knows that he's there, delays the hand pass, and bang, goal. So really good, so smart play. So once you know you're out in the open, you see the defender, or take the grass if you've got no defender there, but the defender's there, go straight on them. Get them to make a decision, really important. So like I said, if there's any questions, just shout out. I see the chat feed there. I'll see all the chats. This again was early in the year. They won easily, the Giants, but they toyed with the Eagles with this. It's a centre bounce Ruck work. So you can see Briggs. I know he's going against it less, no disrespect, but you can see how he's faced this way and how they set up. But what Briggs does, he hits it forward, and because this Eagles player should be here, pushing Callahan in there, should be on goal side. But it's just a big punch forward. The other thing to keep in mind too is using his right hand. So Kelly's in no man's land there. If he was to do his homework next time, he'd want to sit over there. He's in no man's land. Especially when you know, if you're winning the taps, yes, you can be a bit more aggressive, but not in that situation. But the reason why he's gone is because Giants are going right of screen, and that's his right hand for Briggs. So it's a good set play. I really like it. Bang, away they go. My computer thing's slowing up again. You can see my dial thing I use, but now it sometimes takes a while to load in, so I apologise for that. So I'll just go through a couple more and that'll be done. I want to get to, I'll go through actually, see if I can find a few more. Tea's going cold. Happy to do more of these if people want to. I'd love to help out. Love to give you a bit of an insight. That was the Eagles when they were bombing it inside forward 50. Yeah, so this is the Bulldogs. I really like the way the Bulldogs set this up. So this is when was this? Yeah, they played in Canberra obviously, but it's off the ball play that they did, and this is really, really, really cool what they did this night, and they're able to successfully win clearances, I think, against the Giants by just the ability to have some presence and rotations. So what happens in this situation, Ed Richards goes that way, which then catches the attention of Bedford, and he essentially runs into once he runs this pattern, he runs into a 2-on-1 situation, but Fraser's the one that's left open. So it did a lot of this switching off the play. So backward of the stop plays. They did this quite a lot in this game. It was really impressive to watch. So if I go back, sorry, maybe forward. Yeah, so Ed Richards goes. So then he's got Bedford's attention, and look, he's free. And there he is there. So it did this quite a lot, which was really good. And it worked really, really well for him. So this situation here, look on the back. So Bulldogs going right of screen. that happens here. So right of screen, there's movement. So that's Kennedy. So Kennedy moves away, goes into the contest. Now they've got the free. Bang. And Harms did it quite a lot. So watch the action here. Same thing. This movement. So, and they time it really well. So they've moved there. So when the ball's in the air, this player here comes here. This player dumps out and becomes a handball release. And what they were able to do is they're able to create that loose. So because they were forward to centre, and you watch Harms goes back. Now he's gone back. It's on the right of screen there. Bont wins it. Handball receive. They're out inside forward 50. So they did that really, really well, the Bulldogs, that night. It was really good to watch. The movement they had off the back of the stop play, able to give them a lot of forward entries. They did it mainly forward to centre. So it became a real weapon for them. Hope that makes sense. Alright, I'll do a couple more and then that'll be the end of my first live stream. And if you want more, please reach out. Love to do some more. Love to help out. So this is, I like what the Saints did this night. This is when they belted Freo. I think they won by 50 points in the end. But Freo went really, really slow. And a lot of people were like, oh, why are they going so slow? Why are they, why? It's because St Kilda went one-on-one. So up the field, they went one-on-one everywhere. And what they did was a lot of handovering too. So what I mean by handover, and I'll show you, it happens just in this position here, and then the next clip it happens as well. So they've switched the play. So Darcy switched the play here, and they're stuck in the pocket, or stuck in on the wing. And so what St Kilda decided to do, so it was good coaching. So you can see when I'm rolling the tape, how it's all one-on-one. But what they did was a lot of handovers. So what I want you to take particular in, say, look, Malera's already, he's pointing already, and it's a handover. So what happens is he's one-on-one here, but he ends up coming across to take this player here, and Malera comes across and takes this player here. So they created a lot of one-on-one. So this is why Freo is so slow on that night. All they could do was kick down the line because everyone was manned up. They went one-on-one. So if I go back, you'll see a lot of movement, but I want you to take particular interest in here where there's a handover. So it's really good. It's a really smart play, and it's also identifying and working for each other. So as I roll the tape, you can see the one-on-ones, and there's the handover. Bang. So he can't get that little kick, that real chip 45 that a lot of clubs go for, and he's forced to kick it down the line. So really good awareness from St Kilda. They created a lot of confusion for Freo, and all they'll do is force to kick down the line and just play it in their hands. And then I'll show the next clip where there's a bit of a handover as well. So once again, so if I just roll a tape, you'll see in this area, obviously, all the one-on-ones that running with each other. So no zones, nothing like the V structure that Collingwood do, and I'll end the live stream on that V structure because I absolutely love that V structure. But you will see when I roll the tape, a lot of one-on-ones. So you can see it with the naked eye. Look at that, one-on-ones everywhere. They're just following them everywhere. So if I stop it there, they're just one-on-one. One-on-one, 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 one-on-one. So there's no outlets. And what I mean by outlets, there's no zoning. So they weren't giving up the boundary line. They just went completely one-on-one that night. And now this is the handover. So I've got the ball here. Freo, they're going right of screen, and there's a one-on-one here, so he's trying to lead up. But what's the handover that happens here? It's really, really good. So it goes I think it's Wilkie. And then whack. See how he's gone? See the hand over here? So this player comes up to lead into this space, but all Wilkie does is goes back to create a one-on-one. This player goes back, but then the Saints player behind picks him up. So this is what we call handover. So he identifies Wilkie's going back, and then sees that he's leading, and then he's gone with him, and then he has to bomb it down the line, and they win the turnover. And they intercept mark. So really smart play there from the Saints. All right. So that's what they did. I want to get to, I want to show you this V structure that Collingwood's been going with. It wasn't in this game. It was in the Brisbane game. So I'm just going to try and find it for you. This has been real difference. And it's something that I'm absolutely love. They do it in this game. Well, they've done it every game, but they've done it in that free game. Just one point of reference. I'll just go back if I can. Nearly cost Geelong the game, actually. This game, the really close one. Just if you're a coach or the reason why Myercheck marked it, there was 40 seconds to go in the game. They still needed to kick 2 goals, and they nearly did it when Chris missed that goal on the siren. That's De Koning. So hopefully Geelong have learnt that. I know he's injured now, but like if that's a Blitzarves or a Stanley, don't stand on the mark. Go back. Be the tall. That's why Myercheck marks in the goal square, is because they needed to put, I think that's Humphreys. Humphreys goes on the mark. They put someone else on the mark. Get your tall back into the goal square. But they don't do it. There's De Koning on the mark. Myercheck marks it. So how important would it have been to have, 6'6", 6'7" defender on the line, and so just a bit of 101. If the ruck's down there, don't have him on the mark. Get him back in the tallest. Get him back on the line. All right, so this is the last. I just want to show you the Collingwood V shape, which I've been really impressed with. So if I go back slightly, probably go back too far. So it forces them to kick down the line. Oh yeah. I'll go to see if I can find the Brisbane game, which is more evident because the Brisbane game was early in the year. Let me try and find it. So Melbourne's doing the V-shape, so the V-shaped structure. So it's a depth perception. So they did it in the Brisbane game, which made it very effective. So what it is line of vision. So this player, instead of being like a zone, he thinks he can kick there, but there's a player there. He thinks he can kick there as a player, and he thinks he can kick over that player. It's all depth perception, which is really good. But I want to show you how Collingwood do it, but might not have it. I think I do. So I'm just going to try and find this for you. Might have to go back. Thought I had it. That's a dump kicking. If you haven't seen that, go and look at one of the videos that do with Hawthorn with dump kicking. It's really, really effective. Really, really good. That was last week, Brisbane, how they used the ball against Geelong. You've probably seen that many times during the week this week. Can't find it there. So I'll go back. I've got to try and find this V-shape. It's really good, but what Collingwood do. Might even be that Freo part that I've got cut up. Sorry, I'm just sort of flicking through. It might be a bit earlier. Might have skimmed over it. Here it is. Look at that, right on cue. Right, so their V shape. I call it the V shape. Might call it something else, but they've really brought in this structure that is awesome. It's a great set play. It's a great defensive structure. So it sort of, and it makes complete sense with depth perception, right? So Brisbane kick it in here. So they square the kick up, and they just suffocated them on this night. This is Easter weekend. So you can see them like if I roll the tape, you can see them forming, and then I'll be able to show you what I mean. So they kick it in. Player goes back off the mark, and it's called it's a depth perception. So you've got 1, 2, 3. 1, he's getting into position. 2, this player's coming here in position as well. So what essentially it is, it's a V-line shape that Collingwood set up with the kicker. So Zorko's got the ball, but all he sees is all these numbers. And then this player just comes in because you got the man on the mark, so you've got protection there. But what it is, Zorko looks right, and then he sees a Collingwood player, sees a Collingwood player, sees a Collingwood player, looks left, sees a Collingwood player, sees a Collingwood player, sees a Collingwood player. So they're not set up the traditional zone as a lot of other clubs do. They're more set in covering the vision, so the depth perception. So I love it. It's such a smart setup, such a great defensive setup. So you can see, if I can roll the tape, how they've got it. And so they go back, and with that in mind, watch the Collingwood players. Watch how they move. Look how and then they just stop. They stop in their line of vision. Bang. They just hold. It's awesome. I love it. They do a lot of pointing, a lot of instruction for each other, but they always make sure that they're in the kicker's vision. And what this does, it then just forces the... So remember when they played Freo, went over, they had a lot of experience that wasn't played in the game Perth, and they ended up beating Freo over there with the young side, but it's because of their structure, team structure. And then he's just forced to kick down the line. And then the same thing here. So with that in mind, watch the Collingwood players. Look how they position themselves. Look how they move. Look at that. Lipinski. Myercheck's turning his head. You could draw a line. How they've set themselves up. So they're really well drilled on the defensive side. And then when you go across here, 1, 2, 3. Alright, so then you go across. So you kick it across. 1, 2, 3. Line of the kicker. So it's really good. I love the defensive structure they have set up, Collingwood. It's awesome. And that's what's forced a lot of clubs to kick down the line. And now my thing's going to stuff up. Love your stream and content. Keep up the work. Thanks, Albert. Love your analysis and videos. Thanks, Nick. So good. So good as the comments. I love it. So this is another example. So Harris Andrews had the ball, kicked it to Levi. Right, so there he is there. And then he chips it to Levi, and then just watch how Collingwood set up this play. So there you go. 1, 2, 3. There's the kicker. So when Harris Andrews looks up, he sees 1, 2. He's thinking of trying to go there, but he can't. Like, it's sort of puts him off a little bit, and that's all you need. You only have 10 seconds before you kick the ball, but you can. That's a perfect example. If to go is here, if he moves into the traditional zone that they set up, look who gets the ball. And then they're away. Out. But because DeGoey holds, he's trying to be behind McQuarrie. Right? So he's just trying to hold. And Lipinski's the same. So hopefully you can see that pattern. So then Levi then comes in, takes the mark, and then watch Elliott here. He's coming up into this area. DeGoey's pointing to get into the area. So they're trying to get into that V-shaped structure. And the longer you hold the ball, the easier it is for them to actually get in their position. So then Levi looks and then sees that they're all set up in the depth perception, and he just, all he has to do is kick down the line. And another example here, so they kick it in, kick it across. Alright, I'll try and slow it up when he takes the mark here. Alright, then he goes back off the mark. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. V-shaped depth perception structure. That's awesome. I really love it. Hey Ian, do you think that Collingwood will have a measure of Brisbane due to how the defence negates how Brisbane like to play, as you highlighted against Geelong? Do you think Collingwood will have the measure of Brisbane? Yes. The reason why I think, well, this is a perfect example. We come on to it now. Collingwood carved up Brisbane, and it was because of the defensive structure. They get the half forwards up, and then they have so much space. But the thing that Brisbane love, haven't got the so say Collingwood's going this way. What Brisbane do is, say this is just hypothetically just thinking, if this is Collingwood got the ball, they love to stand in line with the goals, their defenders. So Harris Andrews, when Payne was in there, Leicester, Wilmot, they always love to stand off, and they allow you to go. But Collingwood's so good with their foot skills, and their small forwards are so quick. What Collingwood love to do, if you've got a line, and I've spoken about this in previous videos, they kick off the line. So off the line is in this sort of, and you can tell already with Collingwood how many times they're able to get goals inside forward 50, and they're on different spots and different players. Myercheck, Bobby Hill, Elliott, Hoskin Elliott when he comes in. Like, they've just got so many different scoring options, and that's why they're so dangerous, and that's why I think they were too good for Brisbane on this night. This is obviously early in the year, but we've won every game against them since the grand final. We seem to have the wood on them now, especially without Danaher. Yeah, I agree with that. But the way Brisbane played last week is how you beat Geelong. But also, probably the thing with this V-shaped structure is if you go quick, you can expose Collingwood. But teams haven't been able to go quick yet. So once you go quick, they're not able to set this structure up, so you can really expose them. Let's go to the Brisbane one, where they used the ball quite well against Geelong last week. Quite liked it. I think I got it right near the end. Yeah, I'll just show you one play from here. Yeah, this one, I'll show you a couple. So what they did is they lowered their eyes against the Cats. So I've posted this video during the week, but they lowered their eyes, but then they changed direction against the Cats. So Hipwood ends up marking it here from where they are on the ground here. It's because they changed the angles. It was a very smart play. So got the ball, hand pass. I'll just run through it. So Lohman gets back, and he doesn't even look down the ground. He just knows that they're zoning off. He knows already that they want to zone off into the space. 1, 2, 3 on 1. So if that's the case, where all these spares are here. And this is what happens. Dunkley comes into this position here. So when Dunkley comes into this position, look when he gets the ball. He's looking left already. Doesn't even look down the line on the right or towards goals. Looks off the line. There's the kick. Bang. So they did that very, very well last week, Brisbane. It was really good to watch. So this is another example. So Harris, I think, Harris Andrews kicked it. Yeah, Harris Andrews kicked it into McCluggage. But what happens is this player here, unselfish run, runs in here, and Lohman comes out into the space. But it's off the line. This is where you get Geelong, and this is where you also get Collingwood. Not Collingwood, Brisbane. This is what teams do to Brisbane, exactly the same thing. But how are you not an oppo coach somewhere, or not really interested? Good question, Nick. I love doing what I'm doing. I love being a coach mentor. As Nick Dacos said today, you never say never. But I love doing this analysis sort of stuff. So, but it's unselfish running here, unrewarded running as they call it, into this space. So McCluggage is still facing this. He's got it back to the play, but the timing of this is really critical. So McCluggage gets it, goes back off, but look at that space it's created, and that's only created because of that player that went into that area. And then Lohman comes out, and bang, there's the free space. But look at Geelong. 1, 2. This is on the skinny side. But look, where's the space? And they knew this. Brisbane knew this. Bang. Goes around off the mark. Didn't even think. Just knew it was going to happen. Now this is the one you've probably seen quite a number of times during the week. The way they move the ball. So they go up the corridor, switch it here, hand pass here. Logan Morris marks it there. I think this is the one. Because they did so many. So just watch how this unfolds. So down the middle. This is a great kick from Zach Bailey. Off the line. Look at it. Look, it kicks across his body. Bang. So off the line. And then to follow through. And then Logan Morris comes up at him for the mark. So awesome play. I love how that sort of unfolded. Love the zigzag. Put teams the defense off. You gotta keep switching the play. If you keep going down the line all the time, it's so easy for them to read it because I'll just change this. Defenders, it's so easy for defenders to read it because they go on what they call a 45. So Tom Stewart, who you just saw just in the end there, he's a master at it because what he can do is the 45, he can see where the ball is, and then he can see. So he's on a sort of 45-degree angle. He can see his opponent and he can see the ball. So it's easy to read. But once you change the direction of the ball, the player you're playing on changes as well. So then it switches you around, and that's why you saw in that footage there, Geelong players are going left, right and centre. They're going this way, they're going that way. It's because of the ball movement. It's really, really important. Talked about lowering your eyes. What I have noticed, and it seems like a skill that is not many players in the AFL possess. Lots of general kicking loop, yeah. And it's also, a lot of players can kick the lowering their eyes. They can do that. But it's also the player up ahead getting the position. So I think that's a really important structure. You've got to have that synergy. I noticed Carlton a couple of weeks ago, their first quarter, I can't remember who it was against. I think they did the video about inconsistency. But they lowered their eyes. But what they did is that the player receiving the ball didn't go over tram track. So what I mean by that wasn't over passing lanes of the player and the mark. They were on sort of like a 45-degree angle, so they could hit those short kicks and then they could go. But it's lowering your eyes is so you can see. Perfect example was that last example there with Brisbane, how they were able to just lower their eyes but change direction, change angles, hit that target. But that's where Geelong needed to, I reckon, in that game. They needed to go one-on-one or very close to see how the style of the game was going, and then they could sort of, depending on how they went or how the game was unfolding, they could then go back to a bit of zoning. But they just got slaughtered from the outset, and they weren't able to, and they just stuck to their one wood, which wasn't working. Brisbane have tried to change the angles in recent weeks, up the four line especially. Yeah, of course. Yep. Some teams seem to have the quality to do it, but don't do it at all. Carlton vs Sydney didn't have anyone who could kick the ball. Yeah, well, Sydney got back to their DNA on the weekend, lowering their eyes, which you would have noticed. But definitely the biggest standout was Brisbane. That was huge in my mind. I was sitting there just watching and going, "Wow!" I commentate on them live up at the Gabba, and that was I could see it on the TV. It was outstanding. How do you beat Collingwood's defence and set up them? You got to go quick. And you got to change angles. You got to get them moving, shifting. The moment you hold onto the ball too long and go back off the mark, you're gone. You have to kick it down the line. Then you have to have a presence. So Melbourne did it really, really well, actually. In the King's birthday, they only lost by a point. It was helped by Gawn, because what Gawn did is Melbourne tried to go fast. So you've got to go fast against Collingwood's defence, number one. If you don't go fast and you got to kick down the line, you've got to have presence down the line. So Petty didn't have a massive game, but he was down the line. Gawn, contested mark, brought the ball to ground. You got to stop their interceptors in how Quainer gets up there. He did on the weekend. Obviously more. You've got to stop them. And yeah, tag Nick as well. But I think that sort of does help. Certainly does help. That all helps. But I think if you can go quick against Collingwood, play on, get movement, don't let them set up. You've got to get over that next layer. Got to get over the next wave, because if they set up that V structure, they'll really close you in. But I thought Melbourne did that quite well. They're able to get on really quick. They're able to lower their eyes. They're able to hit the shorts. But when they got stuck and they were able to go down the line, they had presence down the line. The sides that haven't had presence down the line have just been carved up by Collingwood. I just love their defensive structure. It's really good. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. It was an hour. Hope you enjoyed the live stream. If you, thanks for subscribing. Thanks for all your support. Thanks for all your wonderful comments. It's awesome. If you want me to do more of these, please let me know. Please reach out. Really love doing this. I love the comments of saying I should be an assistant, the coach. I love being involved. Love giving my thoughts and analysis. Really appreciate all the support. Go the D's this week. I hope your side goes really well this week. Thanks for all the support, and thanks again, Ian, Albert. Who else is in there? Nick, Boston. Thanks for all your questions. A lot of questions, and let's do it again another time. Thanks, guys. Thanks a lot. See ya.